Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so Venerable Sangha, Sialis, and the Dhamma friends. So after a couple of weeks, we'll be resuming our class on the Paṭṭhāna. I hope that y'all spend some decent time on reviewing and memorizing what we learned, especially with the analytical states, which I ask you all to memorize.
好，尊敬的僧团，尊敬的各位贤友，那今天呢，我们将继续来开始为大家讲解《道趣论》的相关学习内容。那希望大家呢，在过去的这些时间当中，已经很好的对于我们在之前已经讲解过的这些内容做了很好的复习、记忆等等的内容，以帮助大家能够更好的接下来向下继续学习。
Okay, so the last time we met, we were discussing the Adhipati-Paccaya, the Sahajata Adhipati, the predominance condition, and from that we went through the analytical states or the conditioning states, which are the 4 dominant dhammas, the Adhipati, and one of the 3 dominant dhammas, Adhipati, and the conditioned states. And today what we have to do here is a breakdown on the analytical states.
在上一节课，我们对于具声增上缘纯数量品当中它们的缘法、缘所生法、缘力等的内容呢，已经进行了详细的解释。那这节课呢，我们将首先从这里开始，继续帮助大家来去详细的拆解有关于具声增上缘它的答案的呈现类型。
Right. So regarding this Sahajata-Adhipati, there are special. I mean, this Sahajata-Adhipati, it is not applicable for in all the chittas and chetasikas, right? So it's specially applicable in the 52, right? In 52 types of impulsive consciousness, which means the 52 types of javana consciousness. This is applicable.
有关于具声增上缘这样的一种缘的类型呢，在全部的心和心所之中，只有52种的塑形心或塑形名句当中，才有可能呈现出该种缘的类型。
So among them, we know there are Chanda, Chitta, Virya, and Vimansa, right? So Chanda is the Chandadipati, desire predominance. Chittadipati is the consciousness predominance. Viryadipati is the effort predominance, and the Vimansadipati is the investigation predominance. So, but among this, the Chandadipati, the Chittadipati, and Viryadipati, they are applicable in 52 types of impulsive consciousness, which we will be discussing. And with the case of the Vimansadipati, right? This one, Vimansadipati, it's applicable only in 47 types of consciousness, where the wisdom, right? Wisdom mental factor is applicable.
那具声增上缘它的缘法呢，可以按照这样的4种类型去进行呈现，分别是欲增上、心增上、精进增上，以及呢智慧增上。那在这里呢，能够作为缘法的欲与欲心所相应的心呢，只有69种。那在其中呢，不包括18种的无因心和2种的持根心。那心增上呢， 这是指所有的89种心。那对于心，智慧增上呢，或观增上呢，则只有47种与智慧相应的心。
Right. So last time we discussed that there are in the case of the predominance condition, there are 10 answers, 10 enumerations, but only 7 are applicable for the connaissance predominance condition that we discussed last time.
在之前我们有提到过，对于增上缘而言呢，它能够获得的答案有10种，但是呢，在具声增上缘之中，则只有7种的答案。
Right. Okay. So now we'll go into the breakdown of the impulsive moments, the javana, the consciousness, wherever this connaissance predominance is applicable.
好，接下来我们来具体探究一下，能够作为塑形心的全部的55种之中，一共是有哪些它们能够构成增上，哪些不能够构成增上。
Right. So we know from the knowledge from the Abhidhamma Sangaha, this javana types of consciousness, the impulsive moments, there are 55 in total, right? There are 55 in total, but the predominance condition is only applicable in the 52 consciousness, right? So when you go through them, here we have unwholesome impulsive moments, the akusala javana, there are 12, and rootless hasituppada consciousness, the rootless mind producing consciousness, we have 1 here. And for the great wholesome, great functional impulsive moments, there are 16. And sublime wholesome, sublime functional, there are 18, right? The Mahagata and the Mahagata Chittas applicable. And for the supramundane impulsive moments, there are 8, right? The Magga and the Pala consciousness. And however, from this 52, right? Only the 10 two-rooted consciousness will have the predominance condition, right? So wherever in the moments where these 10 two-rooted consciousness are there, this predominance condition will be applicable, which means that the chittas which are associated with the delusion, the mohamula chitta, even though they are javana chittas, impulsive moments, they do not have the predominance condition, right? So that's one thing we need to know, because these mohamula chittas, they are not very strong, because they are only supported by one type of root, which is the moha, right? So in all the other unwholesome consciousness, there are 2 roots at least, right? So they, with the support of the roots and the support of the root condition, these consciousness are quite strong, rather than the consciousness rooted in delusion. And regarding the hasituppada, the rootless mind producing consciousness, again, it's a rootless consciousness, right? So it arises for the arhantas when they smile, but still they do not have much force on it. So then, because of that, then it will not be a predominance. So altogether, there are, from this 55, so 3 roots, 3 consciousness are removed here.
好，我们首先来看一下，在这里呢，全部的55种的塑形心有哪些呢？它们分别包括12种的不善塑形心，还有呢，无因生阿拉汉的无因生相心， 包括在欲界的8种大善心、8种大唯作心，包括欲界和无色界，包括色界和无色界的广大的善心、唯作心共18种，以及呢出世间的修行心8种。这样的话，一共能够执行速行作用的心有55种。然而，在这55种的心之中，首先只有呢52种的心，它们能够具备具生增上缘。为什么呢？在12种的不善速行心里面，只有具备2因的不善因的不善心，它才能够在其中呢产生增上的力量。那也即意味着2种的痴根心，它们呢将不会具有具生增上缘，因为它只包括一个痴根，其实只有一个痴的因，它的力量不足以强到产生具生增上缘。再者呢，对于无因生的阿拉汉，对于阿拉汉的无因生孝心而言呢，当其执行速行的作用之时，它它并不具备有任何的因，所以呢，以同样的原因，所以它并不能够有足够的力量支持具生增上缘的出现。所以在全部的55种速行心之中，要去除上述的这3种，只有一因或没有因的速行心，剩下的52种心则是能够产生具生增上缘的。
Right. So another thing that we need to know here is that in the case of the case of some other paccayas, such as the root condition, then the jhana condition, the magga condition. So in these conditions, they had multitude of conditioning state, right? So it means that in the case of roots, there were when the root condition is applicable, except for the rootless, except for the consciousness associated with delusion. In the other rooted consciousness, there were at least two roots functioning as the conditioning states. So in the case of jhana, it had many roots, right? So in the case of the indriya, the faculty condition, it had many. I'm sorry. In the case of jhana, it had many conditioning states. In the case of the faculty condition, then it had many roots. I'm sorry, it had many conditioning states. But here also, even though there are 4 conditioning states, wherever this connaissance predominant is applicable, only one will be there, right? Which means now say, for example, in a particular consciousness, right? In a particular rooted consciousness, say we will take the first lobha citta, right? In the first lobha citta, there are two. There's a possibility that 3 types of predominance may arise, right? So one can be the desire, Chanda-Adhipati, desire predominance. Then it's possible, there's a possibility of Chitta-Adhipati because the Chitta is always there, right? Chanda is always there with the Lobha Chitta. And also the effort predominance, the Virya-Adhipati, right? Because all 3 Dhammas, they are applicable wherever the rooted, wherever the Lobha Chitta, the greed rooted consciousness arise. But the predominance will be only for one thing, only for one factor, right? Which means that all 3 cannot be predominance, right? The word predominance itself means that it's dominating something, right? It's dominating the other dhammas which are there. So which means there shouldn't be two dhammas which are dominating, right? So in the Burmese shadows, they give a simile, right? In the case of the predominance condition, it's like a universal monarch, right? Which have the dominance for the entire universe, entire world, right? And when you compare it with the faculty condition, it says it's like a lesser king who is ruling a kingdom, like that, right? So we have to know here that only one will be only one dhamma, only one conditioning state will be predominant. And we have to know that in all the time, right? In all the time, the predominance condition will not be applicable, right? For some of the chittas. Say here, so here for the Lobha chitta, so the predominance condition will not be applicable for this for the 10 chittas here, right? And for here also, the great wholesome and great functional impulsive moments, the predominance condition will not be applicable. And but with the case of the sublime wholesome and the supramundane impulsive moments, right? The Mahagata and the Lokuttara states, there will be a predominance condition always, right? So we need to know these couple of factors regarding the predominance condition.
那么我们对于具声增上缘呢，应当在此还需要了解的一个重要的情况是，对于其他的类型的缘，比如说像刹那缘或道缘或根缘等等，像刹那缘也好，道缘也好，根缘也好，它们的缘法呢也是会有很多的类型，并且在它们能够产生该原理之时，这些的缘法可能会同时呈现在那里而产生作用。但是对于具声增上缘而言，这样的一种缘，虽然说它的缘法也包括有4种的类型，欲、情、心、观这4种的类型，但是呢，在具声增上缘产生作用的时候，它的缘法只能够是这4种类型当中的其中一种。比如说，以在此的第一种类型不善塑形心里面的贪根心而言，那在贪根心产生具声增上缘的时候呢，在它其中能够呈现出的缘法类型会有欲心所，还有呢，或者是心，或者是精进心所。然而，当它表现出具声增上缘的时候呢，只能是这3者其中的一个，作为具声增上缘的缘法。因为对于具声增上缘而言，它代表着的增上的力量呢，也可以被理解为是主宰或主导该名句的作用。那不会再同时有2个法起到主宰或主导的作用。在缅甸的过去的禅师们、西亚多们解释说，举个例子，就如同像古代的转轮圣王一样，那统治世间的呢，只能同时是这样的一个转轮圣王，而不会同时有2个转轮圣王。所以在很多时候，像这些的不善塑形心，或者是大善大为作塑形心，这些心他们在执行塑形作用的时候呢，他们并不一定总是具有具声增上缘。然而呢，对于广大的善心为作塑形心，以及呢出世间的塑形心，在他们升起的时候呢，在其中的这些的缘法呢，一定是有可能它是一定会产生具声增上缘的。
Right. So there are a few other factors we need to know here. One is it's regarding the supramundane impulsive moments, right? So there are 8 in total, which is magga, right? The fruit. There are 4, right? 4 consciousness, where the induced mind moment, which is the predominance is applicable. And then we have the pala. Again, there are 4 consciousness, right? So the pala consciousness, the resultant consciousness, the fruit consciousness, they are applicable for the supramundane here, right? For the supramundane states here, right? But when you look at this part, right? In this part of the chart, we have the mundane consciousness, the Lokiya Chittas, right? We have the mundane consciousness here. Right? We have the mundane consciousness here in this part of the table. So, but if you look at this carefully, you will not find any mundane resultant consciousness. Right? Here, this is the this one. This is a resultant consciousness. Right? This one is a resultant one. But in the case of the mundane consciousness, there is no resultant consciousness. So we have to know why the reason is, right? We have to find that reason for that.
另外一点，我们需要注意的是，在此作为8种出世间塑形心是哪8种呢？它们是4种的道心，还有呢4种的果心。在此4种的果心，它们是果报心。然而，在除了出世间塑形心以外，剩下的这些塑形心而言呢，它们都是世间心。在这些世间的塑形心之中，我们并没有看到出现有果报类型的世间塑形心的出现。我们需要去知道它们的原因。
Right. So one of the key features that we need to know in terms of the predominance conditions, which is applicable for the mundane consciousness, is that the preparation, right? What is there for the preliminary preparation for the arising of that consciousness, right? Say for example, for the arising of say if you are determined to meditate, right, and then you need to have some serious effort on that, right? You're putting some effort, some preliminary preparation from a set of previous consciousness, and after having this for a while, then a set of consciousness with the predominance condition will arise, right? So but in the case of the in the case of the vipaka chittas, right? In the case of the vipaka chittas, then the predominance condition is not there, because for the arising of these vipaka chittas, the resultants, then there is no preliminary preparation for that.
那么，像这些能够产生具生增上缘的这些世间心，在它们升起的时候呢，往往呢需要有较强的力量。举例而言，比如说我们想要去进行禅修的时候，那为了去能够开展禅修的工作，我们呢需要借助于要么升起很强的精进力，要不呢升起很强而有力的心，或者呢升起强而有力的意欲，来促使我们产生禅修的行为，而产生禅修过程当中升起的善心，并且呢，它需要我们持续的致力于发展，才能够令其升起。那在这其中呢，就会表现出具生增上的力量。然而，对于世间的果报心而言呢，它的转起却并不需要有像这样的必要条件。
Right. So, but in the case, now you may have the question. So how come in the resultant consciousness, the fruit consciousness, this predominance consciousness, the predominance condition is applicable in the resultant consciousness? You may have this question here, right? Because in the mundane consciousness, mundane result consciousness, it was not applicable because it did not have any preliminary preparation, but in here it's there. So the reason is that for this one is the effort that it is taking, right? So right, we know this the fruit consciousness, they arise immediately after the wholesome consciousness, right, which is the magga consciousness. Immediately after the magga consciousness, the resultant consciousness, the fruit consciousness will arise. For the arising of the Magga consciousness, the fruit consciousness, lot of effort has to be put, right? Lot of effort goes into for the arising of the Magga consciousness. So that supports to have the predominance consciousness in the resultant, which is the fruit consciousness, right? And also there is another kind of special effort in the resultant consciousness, which is to after the arising of the Magga consciousness, there is something called, in Pali, it is called Patipassambhana Vyapara, which means to extinguish the function, the operation of tranquilizing effort, right? That extinguish the fire of defilement, right? So in here, then in the Magga consciousness, the fruit consciousness, there will be the eradication of defilements, the extinguishing of the defilements. And here, in its results, the fruit consciousness, in the fruit consciousness, there is something called tranquilizing it, right? Tranquilizing effort. So it's special it's a special case for the fruit consciousness. So that's why the predominance condition is applicable here.
因此，在世间的果报心当中，它不可能产生具生增上缘。那为什么同样作为果报心的出世间心却可以呢？在这里，对于出世间的果心而言呢，它是包含有精进的力量的。为什么呢？首先，果心立即在道心，也就是属于出世间善心的道心之后升起。那道心的升起呢，它需要我们有很多的精进力来去支持。那紧接在道心之后升起的果心也会受到道心中的精进力的支持。那所以呢，在果心升起的时候呢，它也表现有这样的精进力。再者呢，还有的解释是，那么我们应当知道，在果心当中，它会产生一种特殊的类型的精进。为什么呢？当道心升起的时候，将能够产生致力于达到平静状态的作用。那并且呢，它能够起到去除烦恼的功能。那因为这样的一种表现呢，紧接在道心之后升起的果心呢，也会表现出这样的一种致力于达到平静的特殊作用。因为这样的原因呢，在其中呢，它也会有这样的一种特殊的精进的表达。
Right. So I mentioned here when I was explaining here for the rootless consciousness that it will not be predominant, and the two consciousness here, the two delusion-rooted consciousness, right? The two delusion-rooted consciousness, they do not have this predominant condition. The reason I said that here it will only in the case of the delusion-rooted consciousness, that there will be only one root, and for the rootless mind-producing consciousness, there are no roots. So in addition to that, there is another reason that the predominance condition is not applicable here. So the other reason is that for these three types of conditions, the two delusion and the rootless mind-producing condition, there is no preliminary effort, right? In the case of the arhantas who are smiling, for some reason they do not have a kind of a pre-prepared or some kind of a pre-arrangement or preliminary preparation for to produce a smile, right? So when they see something happening in the mundane world, then they will smile. It's kind of, I would say, like impulsive, right? The word impulsive is not proper, right? So they will just smile at it when they see something which is improper in the mundane world, right? But they do not have much kind of a They do not have the preliminary preparation for that. And it's the same case with the two delusion-rooted consciousness, right? Which is associated with doubt and the restlessness consciousness. I mean, like nobody's nobody's deliberately making an effort to have doubt, right? To have doubt, and nobody's really trying to have a restlessness mind, right? So it happens. It's like that.
那么在此呢，对于这三种类型情况呢，其实两个痴根心还有一个阿拉汉生肖心，他们呢并不具有具生增上的情况。在这其中呢，我们之前解释过，因为两个痴根心它们只有一个因，而阿拉汉生肖心呢则没有因，这是他们没有具生增上缘出现的一个解释。但是呢，除此之外，我们呢也应当对于这三种类型的情况呢，还要了解到，在他们其中并没有这样的一种主导的力量，并没有一个起到主导作用的这个刻意的安排或特殊的一种精进的力量表现。比如说像阿拉汉生肖心，它只是阿拉汉在世间单纯的微笑而已。这样的心升起的时候呢，它并不带有某种特定的准备、特定的主导作用。那对于两种痴根心呢，也是这样。比如说对于这个怀疑、对于调举这两种，对于怀疑跟调举为主要表现的两个痴根心而言呢，他们在其中也并不具备像这样的特殊的主导力量的具生缘的情况出现。
Right. So I mentioned that in many of these consciousness, especially with the consciousness which are associated with the sensual pleasures in the sensuous world, the kama achara chittas, the predominance condition will not be applicable always, right? So it will be there sometimes depending on the conditions. But in the case of the sublime and the supramundane consciousness, it's always there, right? So that we know already. But there are a few exceptions here, which is for the consciousness which arise in the sensual plane, the kama achara chittas, wherever the five heinous crimes, the anantariya kamas, right? Killing father, killing the mother, and things like that. So when it is taking place, it says that it's explained that this predominance condition will be there for the five heinous kamas, and also the wrong view, niyata michaditi.
在这些情况之中呢，我们刚刚已经解释到，于欲界心里面具生增上缘的情况，或者是增上的情况，它并不是总是出现，只是在某些特定的因缘环境之下才会呈现出。那在色界及以上，在色界和无色界以及出世间中，这些的塑形心呢，它们则总是会产生增上的情况。但是呢，于欲界的这些塑形心里面，不善的塑形心之中，如果是表现为执行五种的无间逆罪，或者是保有定邪见，直到命中，在这样的情况的不善的塑形心之中呢，则也是一定会具有具生增上。
Right. So one more thing we need to know here. So in the conditioning states, it was given as one of the four dominant dhammas, Adhipati, and one of the three dominant dhammas, right? So here we have four, and here we have three, right? Which means that we know the meaning of one of the means that, that only one type of predominance conditioning state will be applicable, right, wherever it's going to take place. And also the four dominant Adhipdhammas are applicable for the wholesome and the resultant consciousness, wherever the, I mean, in the 47 types of, right? So this is applicable for the, especially the four types of dominant dhammas are applicable for the 47 consciousness associated with wisdom, right? So in general, we would say that it is applicable wherever the wholesome consciousness. If you be more specific, it's applicable for the consciousness associated with the wisdom. Right, with wisdom. And this one of the three dominant dhammas. So it is applicable for the unwholesome consciousness, 10 types of unwholesome consciousness, mind moments where the where the wisdom is not there, not applicable. So only out of the three, that one will be the dominant dhamma.
Sorry, Pandit, this three dominant dhammas means akusala and also
Only akusala.
only akusala. Then how about
Yeah.
jnana vipayutta
Jnana
condition?
Vipayutta, yes. I mean, this is how the Burmese shadows have explained here, right? For one of the four and one of the three. So in general, that the shadows have given that this is for the one of the four is applicable in general for the wholesome, and one of the three is applicable for the unwholesome. That's what is given.
Okay.
I mean, not only the wholesome, that some of the resultant consciousness are applicable here too.
OK， Pandit。好，那再有的话呢，我们需要了解到，在俱生增上缘，我们之前看到的缘法之中所提到的，它的缘法可能是4增上法之一或3增上法之一。那缅甸的悉达多他们给予的解释呢，是如果它是处于能够表现出4种增上法的类型呢，它是属于47种的志向印心才能够表现出4种的增上的力量，或者是4种的增上缘法。那只有它们其中的一个呢，将会表现出增上的力量。而如果是3种的增上法之一呢，这里的具备3种增上法的，则是只适用于那些不善心之中，或者换言之，在不善心之中呢，会有3种的增上力量，其中一种起到主宰的作用。当然了，在4增上法之中呢，47志相应心里面呢，也包括有我们刚刚提到的4种的出世间的果心。
Right. So, yeah. So regarding the conditioned phenomena, right? About the conditioned phenomena, that it is applicable for the, right? So it's applicable for the associated aggregates with the predominant factors, and also the mind produced matter, right? The chitta jarupa only, right? So when it comes to the analytical states, in generally will be explained as the mind produced matter as Sadipati Chitta Jarupa. Right? Sadipati means the mind produced matter which have the Adhipati, like that. And also it's not applicable for the this predominance condition is not applicable at the rebirth, right? At the rebirth linking consciousness, and it's not there, which means that the karma produced matter at the rebirth linking, the patisandhi karma jarupa, is not there as well. So in general, the chitta jarupa, this the mind produced matter, can be divided based on whether this Adhipati Paccaya is there or not, right? So it's given as Sadipati Chitta Jarupa, and the other type is called Niradhipati Chitta Jarupa, which means the mind produced matter due to non-predominant, right? The predominant factor is not there, but the mind produced matter, they arise, right? So the predominance condition is not applicable there.
那么对于具声增上缘它的原所生法而言呢，这里面它所包含的内容主要是与4种或3种作为音的增上法相应的其他的名韵，以及呢受增上缘力支柱的心声色法是这里的原所生法的内容。当我们提到心声色法的时候呢，我们需要明白。它指的呢是由这些具声的心或者是与这些4种具声增上的缘法，受到这4种增上的缘法支柱的具声的心声色所产生的。那在这里呢，这里的心声具备增上的心声色呢，特定的指代的是呢该种类型的名句呢，它能够包含有4种或3种增上的力量，而那些不受到增上缘力支柱的心声色呢，则是被视为没有增上的心声色的类型。所以对于心声色法的类型呢，我们可以依于增上的情况，将它们分为2类。第一类呢，就是具备增上的心声色；第二类呢，就是无增上的心声色。
Right. So now we move into the table where the analytical states are explained. So this one, for the first one, we have the 7 states here, the 7 enumerations, I'm sorry, the 7 enumerations are there. And for the kusala, right, kusalo, kusalasa, the wholesome supporting the wholesome resultants, the condition. So here it comes as it is given the conditioning states for all 3. It's given as one of the 4 dominant dhammas, right? So it's given in general, really, right? It's not broken. It's not split down. It's not broken down into 2-rooted consciousness and 3-rooted consciousness. It's given in general. That's why. And the resultants, the conditioned states are the associate aggregates, which are the 21 wholesome consciousness and 38 mental factors, right? But we have to exclude the dominant one here, right? We have to exclude the dominant factor from here, which means that the dominant dhamma becomes the conditioned state, but it does not become the conditioned state, right? Because the paccaya and because it's only have one type of paccaya, right? So that's how we derive the kusalo kusalasa. Then we have the kusalo abhyakatasa, the wholesome supporting the indeterminate, which is the dominant mind produced matter. Now you see the it is given as dominant mind produced matter, not in general, right? The adjective is used here as dominant. And then the third one, we have the wholesome supporting the wholesome and the indeterminate, where you have the combination of the associate aggregates and the dominant mind produced matter.
接下来我们透过表格来看一下有关于具声增上缘它的7个数量，或者说7个答案。那在这里呢，在第一种的主要情况当中，表现为善法，它的原法是善法的情况，对应呢它的人所生法呢，则是3种情况。那由此呢而产生了3个数量。我们需要看一下，在这里呢，首先提到，如果说是原法是善，它的原生法呢也是善法的情况呢，在原法里面，这里的作为主格的原法只是提到4增上法之一，并没有针对该增上法的类型是属于2音或3音进行详细的分类。那当它的原生法是善法的时候呢，这里给予的内容是相应诸运，包括有21种的善心和38种的心所。 在这里呢，我们需要去特殊的考虑一种情况，什么情况呢？也就是我们应当去除该原生法成为原法的情况。比如说，那这里呢，如果它的这个原法是新的情况，那如果它的新作为增上法的时候呢，它的原所生法就不会包含有该新的名法。那第二种孤比亚的情况，原法是善，原所生法是无记的情况，这里它的原生法的内容是增上新生色。第三种情况呢，则是前两种的结合。
Right. So now we move into the akusala terms. So again, here we have this change here, one of the three dominant dhammas, and here we have the associated aggregates, the 10 unwholesome. I'm sorry. In the conditioned, we have the 10 unwholesome consciousness, right? So the two delusion rooted consciousness are removed, and then and 26 mental factors, which is the doubt, the mental factor of doubt is removed. So in the resultants, in the unwholesome supporting the indeterminate, the condition is the dominant mind produced matter, which is the same as previous, and akusalo abhyakatasa, akusalo akusala abhyakatasa, akusala supporting the akusala, unwholesome supporting the unwholesome and the indeterminate. So it's the associate aggregates and the dominant mind produced matter, a combination of both. And for the indeterminate terms, then indeterminate supporting the indeterminate, it has one of the four dominant dhammas, right? One of the four dominant dhammas, because in the indeterminate, some of the indeterminate consciousness, they are associated with wisdom. So that's why we get the four here, right? And in here that we have in the conditioned states, we have the four fruit consciousness, and 17 rooted kriya. The rooted means the functional rooted consciousness, 17 of them. The unrooted ones, right? The non-rooted, the functional, they are not applicable here. And then we have the 38 mental factors and dominant mind produced matter.
那第二和第三组的情况呢，当原法是阿固不善的情况之时，它的原法呢是属于三种增上法之一，就是欲、精进和心这三种的情况之一。那对应的属于原法是不善的三种情况呢，那第一种情况是不善对不善。在此，如果原所生法是不善之时呢，它的内容包括相应诸运，其内容呢是除了两种痴根心以外的10个不善心，还有26个心所。这里的26个不善心所呢，是去除了疑心所以外剩下的26个。当原生法是无记法之时，它主要指的是与不善法相应的俱生增上新生色。那第三种情况呢，则是前两者的结合。那第三组的类型呢，是原法是无记，原生法也是无记的情况。对于这样的一种情况呢，原法是无记的时候，它的内容呢，既包括有果报无记的情况，也包括有为作无记的情况。那其对应的原生法的无记呢，内容呢，也就包括有4种的果心、17有因为作心、38心所，还有呢增上心生色。
Okay, so with that, we have completed the 7 types of, okay, so we have the 9 condition group, right? So here we were discussing the connaissance group, the Sahajata, right? And then we started discussing, okay, in the connaissance condition group, it was threefolded, right? Connaissance small group, the connaissance medium, and the connaissance large group. So we are discussing we discussed all the paccayas, all the conditions from this cornerstone small group, right? And now we have to discuss the cornerstone's large group.
好，那么在到现在为止呢，我们已经探讨了所有的具声元组里面呢，我们看到的，如果我们将15种的具声元分为15个元的情况，那这15个具声元的情况呢，可以被归纳到具声小组、具声中组和具声大组之中。那到目前为止，具声小组的全部内容我们已经结束了分析。接下来我们需要去看到的是具声大组的内容。
Right. Okay, so before moving into the cornerstone's major group, the large group, if you have any questions, we can discuss regarding the cornerstone's predominance on the section that we discussed already.
那在我们开始讨论具声大组之前，有关于我们刚刚所学习的具声增上缘的内容，大家如果还有其他问题的话，可以提出。
Okay, there is one question in the English. Right. Okay. So can you see the screen? Can, right?
Yes, man.
Yeah. So yeah. So the term for the can Bante please tell us what is the Pali term for tranquilizing effort in regard of the supramundane Palachitta? So this is called in Pali. I already included this one in the note, of course. It's called Paṭṭhāna-Pañhāvara. Okay, please translate this one.
好，那么这里呢，我们的一个律师呢，他提到了这样的3个问题。第一个问题呢是，当我们在提到果心它能够产生具声源的力量之时呢，那这里呢，我们在解释的时候提到，那果心当中能够具备的这样的一种精进表现呢，其中就有带来平静的或致力于平静的这样的一种精进。那这个词语它在巴利当中是如何写的呢？这里呢，我们老师呢跟大家写下来，叫做 Adhipati-2.
Yes. This question, the next one is for the Phala Chitta. If arising in the mental process of Phala Samapatti, there is no Magga Chitta. Is there also this tranquilizing effort? I don't know the answer, so let me check it. And if Bante Kassapa or any other Dhamma friend know the answer, please share it. And check it later too. No, right? Okay.
And I think, yeah, but I just what I'm thinking, if the Palajida is aiming for the tranquil, like the Nibbana, when it experiencing the Nibbana, it also feel the tranquil. So it should also have this tranquilizing effort, but I didn't check the value.
Yes, let me check also, because in all of the places that I have seen, the tranquilizing effort it's always related to it's explained related to the Magga Chitta. That's that. So I need to check it. This one I'll check also to find a
Okay, I
text.
trust it. Okay, I trust it first.
Okay.
第二个问题呢，则是提到呢，那么对于果心而言呢， 那么刚刚我们所提到的，在紧接着道心之后升起的果心呢，它是发生在圣道心路过程之中。那因为道心的缘故呢，所以果心它也能够受到影响，而具备这样的一种带来寂静、带来平静的精进。那么尼师呢，他就问第二个问题：那如果说是对于果定的心路过程而言，那在这其中的果心，它是否也能够具备这样的一种带来平静的精进呢？那老师呢说他之后呢会去帮忙查阅一下这个问题的相关答案。
Right. The third question, it's very straightforward. When there is predominance condition, are all chittaja rupa arising within that mind moment are sadipati chittaja rupa? Yes.
好，第三个问题呢是，当出现有具声的当出现有增上的情况，增上缘的时候呢，是否所有的心声色法，呃，在那个心识刹那升起的心声色法，都可以被称之为是，都可以被称之为是具声增上的心声色呢？老师的回答是是的。
Okay, so do we have more questions? No, right?
大家还有其他问题吗？如果有问题，可以打在聊天池，可以用中文来打也可以。
Right. Okay. Right. So before moving really into the before moving into the uh, connaissance condition, I thought to share some Dhamma, right, from the suttas, of course, Sutta and Vinaya, from the Paharada Sutta, right? So I believe some of you have read this sutta, right? It's the name of the sutta called Paharada Sutta. There was an Asura, right, who was is a king, and so one day he came to meet the Buddha, our Lord Buddha, and in this Paharada Sutta there is a long discussion between Buddha and this Asura. So uh, so one of the questions is that the Buddha asked, right? So why do the Asuras, the Titans, they love the ocean? Right? Uh, so one of the answer he gives is that the ocean gradually slants, slopes, and inclines with no abrupt precipice. This is the first thing that the Titans love about the ocean, right? So when the ocean gets deepened, so it does not get deepened suddenly, right? So it, by inch, little by little, it get deepens, not suddenly. So this is one reason that the Titans love the ocean. This is what is the answer given by this Asura, and the Buddha, right, using the same analogy, right? He explains our Buddha, Lord Buddha. He says, in the same way, in this teaching and training, the penetration to the enlightenment comes from gradual training, progress, and practice, not abruptly. So this is the first thing that the mendicants, which means the monks, love about this training, teaching, and training. This is the answer. This is the analogy which our Lord Buddha use.
好，那么在我们去进一步的往下进行具声大组的相关内容之前呢，在此老师首先呢为大家分享了这样的一部经文，叫做巴哈拉达苏达。那巴哈拉达呢，它是一个阿修罗王的名字。那这个阿修罗王呢，他们所居住的领域呢是在大海之中。有一次呢，他前去拜见佛陀，向佛陀呢请教了这样的问题。那他请教什么样的问题呢？他说： 尊者，大海有这样的8种奇妙未曾有之法，因此呢，阿修罗很喜欢大海。哪8种呢？一，大海呢是逐渐向下，逐渐的倾斜，甚至呢，海底的沟壑呢，它是逐渐的变深，变得深入，不会突然的变得非常的陡峭。这是大海的第一种奇妙未曾有之法。所以呢，阿修罗他们喜欢大海。那佛陀呢，因为阿修罗的回答呢，而做了相同的譬喻。在这样的法语律之中，那为什么佛陀的弟子们，这些出家的比库们也非常喜欢法和律，就如同阿修罗喜欢大海一样呢？因为佛陀的教法也是次第而学，次第而做，次第行道，并不会顿然正知通达，并不会突然的而获得觉悟。那这个呢，是此法在这法与律之中的第一种殊胜，未曾有之法。
So when I'm reflecting this sutta, right, which comes here, which is especially with this part, I think it's the same case with all the Dhamma that we learn, right? It slowly, it gets deepened, right? Not it becomes difficult or deepened uh, abruptly. So in the study of the Paṭṭhāna, we need to remember this as well, right? We know this, as I mentioned in one of my, I think in my earlier lectures, I explained you all that these Dhammas are connected, right? Because this teaching of Abhidhamma is one single desana, one single discourse of our Lord Buddha, and it's connected and it's get deepened gradually, not abruptly. So so because of that, we need to know this fact, because we know the Paṭṭhāna is difficult, it's not easy to learn, and but the good thing about is it get deepens little by little, which means that if you are putting a good effort, a serious effort, a continuous effort, then it can be learned, right? At least the Kusalattika Paṭṭhāna that we are learning, it's possible for us to learn it, because it's not something impossible. And the good thing, it becomes deepened gradually. So if you are taking my advice and do the things which I'm recommending you to do, things like memorizing and working, reviewing the text, reviewing the notes and all, then it's going to be very supportive for your study, right? So please have that in your mind always.
Okay, thank you for this sharing and the advice. We will also share in our group. 接下来呢，那老师呢，他解释说，有关于这一点呢，也就是在这篇经文当中，佛陀所做的譬喻呢，我们也应当理解到，在佛陀的教法之中，在法与律之中呢，法义都是以这样的方式而呈现的，它并不会突然变得特别的艰深，它总是呢，难度呢是一点一点的增加。那对于我们现在所学习的法趣论呢，也是这样。在我们学习的过程当中呢，我们在前后所学习到的内容，它都是相互连接的，是由浅入深的，慢慢变得越来越深奥。那我们呢需要去知道，它具备这样的一种因素。那虽然说发趣的学习呢是困难的，但是呢它也是一点一点的变得深奥的。像我们现在在学习的善三法趣的课程呢，也是这样。那它是不会突然变得特别的困难。因此呢，如果大家可以像老师所提出的要求那样，在课后呢能够很好的去进行复习，对于课件的内容呢去进行复习，也能够很好的去背诵该背诵的，那么我们去学习发句法呢，将能够收获到更多的利益。
Okay. Now we will move into the right. Now we will move into the connaissance large subgroup, right? Konasan major group, or you can say. Right. So in the case of the Konasan's large group, there are 4 conditions, right? There are 4 conditions, and the good thing is that the conditioning states and the condition states of all these conditions, like in these 4 conditions, are the same, right? So difference is only between the conditioning force.
我们看一下，对于具声大组而言呢，在其中具有这样的4种元，在这4种元之中呢，它们的元法和元所生法都是完全一样的，不同的只是它们所表现出来的原理。
And there is a similarity about the conditioning forces here, which is that these dhammas has any other conditions in the connaissance group. They support simultaneously, right? They support the simultaneously, which the condition states also arise together, right?
那因为它们具备着像这样的相似性或相同性，那所以当这些原理出现的时候呢，它们都将能够同时来去支持原生法。
Right. So now we know there are four types of conditions here. The connaissance conditions, which is Sahajata, and then we have the connaissance dependence, Sahajata-Nisaya, then the connaissance present, Sahajata-Atti, and the connaissance non-disappearance, Sahajata-Avigata. There are 4 of them. So now we will look into these conditions where these conditions are classified.
那在该元组织中呢，有哪4个元呢？首先是Sahajata 具声元，然后呢是Sahajata-Nisaya 具声一指，然后呢是Sahajata-Atti 具声有，以及Sahajata-Avigata 具声不离去。那对于这4种元呢，我们先来看一下该如何去进行分类。
Right. So in the classification of conditions, the connaissance condition is included solely within the connaissance major subgroup, right? That we need to know here.
那首先呢，我们应当了解的是，它们呢都是属于在具声元组织中最为主要的类型。
Right. But in the case of the Nisaya conditions, the dependent conditions is divided into 2 parts, the connaissance dependence and the prenaissance dependence, right? In Pali it's called Sahajata Nisaya and Purejata Nisaya. And the Sahajata Nisaya is the one which is belong the connaissance dependence, that is which is belong to the connaissance major subgroup. And the Purejata Nisaya, the prenaissance dependence, is further divided into object prenaissance dependence and base prenaissance dependence, right? And object prenaissance dependent is Aramana Purejata Nisaya. Base prenaissance dependent is the Vattharamana Purejata Nisaya. And and this base prenaissance dependence, it belongs to the base prenaissance group. It's called the Vattu Purejata group. And the object prenascence belongs to the object group, Aramana group, right? So like that, there's a small division, right? It's in here.
好，那么在全部的这4种语言当中呢，具声语言呢，它只是属于这个大具声组，只是属于该语言组的类型之中。那一指语言呢，分为2个部分，哪2个部分呢？具声一指，还有呢前声一指。那在这里面呢，具声一指的类型呢，它属于具声语言组里面的大具声组，而前声一指呢，它可以再进一步的分为所缘前声一指和一处前声一指这2种情况。那么对于一处前声一指呢，属于一处前声组，而所缘前声一指呢，则是属于所缘组。
Right. And in the case of the presence conditions, Adhipati is divided into 5, right? So it's further divided. The connaissance presence, Sahajata Ati, prenascence presence, the Purejata Ati, post-nascence presence, Paccaya-Jata Ati, nutriment presence, Ahara Ati, and faculty presence, Indriya Ati, right? So like that, there are 5, right? And the connaissance present, the Sahajata Ati is the part of the connaissance mage group, which we have to discuss now. And the prenascence presence, which is the Purejata Ati, is divided into object prenascence and the base prenascence, Aramana Purejata Ati and Vatu Purejata Ati. And base prenascence, Vatu Purejata Ati, it belongs to the base prenascence group, Vatu Purejata. And the object prenascence, the Aramana Purejata, it belongs to the object group, the Aramana Gana. And the post-nascence presence, Paccaya-Jata Ati condition is included in the post-nascence group and the Paccaya-Jata group. And the nutriment presence is included in the nutriment group, right? Rupahara. And the faculty presence condition, Indriyati, is included in the faculty of physical life group, the Rupa Jivit Indriya group. So like that, there's a division here, right? So it's basically, it's given as it's subdivided into 5, but depending on the teacher and the method, sometimes it's divided into a few more. As far as I recall, in the Aramana group, there are in the object group, it's further divided, but for some of the parts of, like some of the parts are divided into another couple of things. I think in some cases, maybe not some cases, I think it's divided into 9 or sometimes, right? Nevertheless, we will be learning in later in the other groups. So for the time being, just remember that there are 5 here, and then which we are really learning here is the connaissance presence, the Sahajata Ati.
那对于有缘呢，我们首先呢应当知道它会分为这样的5种类型，哪5种类型呢？具声有缘、前声有缘、后声有缘、实有缘，还有呢根有缘。在这其中呢，具声有缘就是属于我们现在在学习的大具声组。那前声有缘呢，则是会分为所缘前声和一处前声。我们刚刚所提到的前声的类型呢一样，一处前声呢属于一处前声组，所缘前声呢则是属于所缘组。那后声有呢，则是属于后声组；实有呢，包含在色识元组当中；那根有缘呢，则是包含在色命根元组当中。那当然呢，对于其中所缘前声的类型呢，它所包括的这个所缘组呢，它也会有些时候进一步的会被划分为9种的类型。那无论如何呢，我们应当知道，现在我们再去学习的这个有缘的具声有缘的类型呢，它是特定的属于大具声组之中。
Okay, so the non-disappearance conditions, the Avigata Paccaya, it has the same classification as the subdivision as the presence condition. right? The same, like same.
最后一种呢，不离去元的类型呢，它与有元相同，也呢是分为5种，所以其中的这个句声不离去元呢，也是属于大句声元组的类型。
So we will be studying only the sections related regarding the consonants major group, and the Pali related to the 4 conditions is the same for all, right? Except for the conditioning force. So it means that if we learn one, then the other 3 is done.
那当我们要去学习该大句声组当中的这4个元的时候呢，我们应当结合呢巴利的这个文字呢来去进行学习。那他们在巴利当中呢所进行的语句的表述是基本完全一致的，所不同的呢只是他们的元力的差异。
Right. So now right, in the case of the consonants condition, right? So we'll be learning the consonants condition, right? First we'll be learning this one, which means that we'll be learning the others as well. So it consists of 9 elaborations, right? 9 answers are there. So it can be broken down into 3, right? At the period of life continuity, the rebirth linking, and stand-alone matter.
那么对于句声元呢，如果我们将它去进行分类呢，按照问分的方式呢，才能够得到9个解释。那这9个解释呢，我们可以进一步的将它们分为3个主要的类型。
Right. And breaking it down further, from the first elaboration, from the first answer to the 6th one, and 8th and 9th. So 1 to 6 and 8th and 9th. It explains about the condition and the period of life continuity. And in the 7th one, both at the period of life continuity and rebirth linking are presented. And also the standalone matter will be there, which will be explained later. Right? So it's very straightforward things.
好，那么在这9种的答案之中呢，从第1个到第6个的答案呢，以及呢第8个到第9个的答案呢，他们都表述了在生命转起期间所出现的语言的情况。而对于在这其中的第7个答案呢，则解释了不仅仅有生命转起期间，还有呢结生刹那的句声源的呈现情况。那包括呢与纯色法的或色法与色法之间的关系呢，也都在其中呢去进行了阐释。
Right. So in the text, we have included this one, the classification, but I will not go through it now because it's quite long, right? So like as in the previous in the Sahajata small group, I will not go through it because it's quite long, right? So rather than that, I will be discussing a little bit on the analytical states, and then I will take one by one, right? One and one by one of the enumerations, the elaborations, and then I will be discussing them. And so it will be quite easy.
好，那么对于这9种的答案的巴黎的内容呢，文字呢将会非常的长。那之后呢，我们将会逐一的去解释它们的内容，并且在此之后呢，我们也会就育生园的纯数量品的内容去进行整体的解释。那这将会非常便于我们的理解。
Right. So okay. So I will discuss the conditioning states and the condition states, right? So here really what is given here in this inside this box is that for all the four paccayas, we know the conditioning states and the condition states are the same, right? For the connaissance dependence, the connaissance presence, the connaissance non-dependence. So they are the same, right? So it's in general, it's broken into, it's split into three parts, right? First one, we have the four mental aggregates, right? How they support each other and how they support the matter which are attached to them, right? So it says the first part, the four mental aggregates, both life continuum and rebirth linking. I don't know if it is correct or not, right? So both life continuum and rebirth linking, right? So it includes both mental aggregates which support reciprocally, right? Reciprocally means they're supporting each other in some cases, right? They're supporting the four mental aggregates, they're supporting each other, and it is given as reciprocally and mind produced matter, right? So sometimes they're supporting each other plus the mind produced matter, and in the moment of conception it supports the karma produced matter for the patisandhi kammaja rupa.
好，那么对于具声元组的这9个答案呢，如果我们将它们去进行归纳呢，进一步的归纳呢，可以将它们分为3个主要的情形。那在这里呢，第一种情形呢，它主要呢指代的是在生命期间以及呢结生刹那的4名运的相互支柱，并且呢，在生命期间和结生刹那这些的名运呢，它们也能够去支柱新生色以及呢在结生刹那的业生色。
Right. So here, the second one, oh, see what has happened. I'm sorry that brother JJ sent a message, right? So I have not been showing the screen here. I was sharing the other screen. Sorry for that. Anyway, I don't think that you missed much. Okay. Okay, so here we have the 4 great elements which support reciprocally and for derived matter, the second one, right? So it's a 4 great elements. They are supporting each other and the derived matter, the upadharupa.
那在这其中的第2种的主要类型关系呢，是有关于纯色法相互之间的，也包含有4大种色相互之间呢以具生元为元相互支柱，那以及呢4大种色对大种所造色，以具生元为元的情况。
Right, and the third one, the third part is the 5-fold existent rebirth linking mental aggregates, right? In Pali it's called Panchavokara Patisandhi Namakanda and the heart base, which support reciprocally. So this is something special. At the moment of the rebirth, the heart base is supporting the rebirth linking mental aggregates, and the rebirth mental aggregates are supporting the heart base. So that's why it's called as they're supporting reciprocally.
第3种归纳的主要情况呢，是有关于五蕴有的生命，他们在结生刹那之时，结生的名运以及结生刹那的心所依处色相互之间能够存在有的具生缘的相互支柱的情况。
Okay, so I have included here a table which was used by one of the shadows, well-known shadows, for the explanation to really memorize. the analytical states of the connaissance large and small groups. I'm sorry. It should be not small, it should be medium groups, right? So to derive the analytical states in the connaissance large and the medium groups, right? So again, it's the same thing, right? Which is presented here, right? So it included the four mental aggregates. They are supporting reciprocally and respective mental aggregates. The mind produced matter at the moment of conception, comma produced matter. The second one, the four great elements supporting reciprocally and to the derived matter.
那再往下呢，我们可以看到，那尊者呢，他引用了缅甸的夏多所使用的这样的一个帮助大家推导以及记忆大句声和中句声组的究竟法的内容的表格。那按照我们刚刚所解释的这三类，分为了三行。在第一行当中呢，提到四民韵之间呢，它们可以相互支柱，并且呢，四民韵可以去支柱个别的民韵、心声色法以及结声刹那的叶声色。第二种情况呢，则是有关于四大种色，它们可以相互支柱，并且呢，可以支柱大种所造色。
Okay, so the third one, which you already know, the fivefold existent rebirth mental aggregates and the heart base supporting reciprocally, right? So this, yeah.
而第三种的类型呢，则是有关于无韵有的有情生命，在其结声刹那的结声民韵和结声刹那的心所依处色相互之间的以具声源相互支持的关系。
So I have included the explanation here, which I sent you all today. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah. Okay. So now we will yeah. Now we will okay. We'll try to. I'm not sure this is going to work. Anyway. Okay. So no. No, yes, the screen is too small. Okay, so we'll go to the first enumeration here, which is Kusalo-dhammo, Kusalasa-dhammasa, Sahajata-paccayana-paccaya. The wholesome phenomena supports the wholesome phenomena through the force of connaissance condition, and it says Kusalo eko khando tinnanang khandanang Sahajata-paccayana-paccaya. So one wholesome aggregate, right? One wholesome aggregate supports three aggregates through the force of connaissance conditioning. The next one, Tayo khanda ekasya khandasya Sahajata-paccayana-paccaya. The three aggregates support a single aggregate through the force of connaissance conditioning. Dve khanda dwinnang khandanam Sahajata-paccayana-paccaya. Two aggregates support two aggregates through the force of connaissance conditioning.
接下来我们来看一下这9个答案，9个阐释。那第一个答案呢是这样子提到，首先呢，善法对善法以俱生言为缘，接下来是对该总说的一个解释。那什么情况之下善法对善法会以俱生缘为缘呢？善的一运对三运以俱生缘为缘，善的三运对一运以俱生缘为缘，善的二运对二运以俱生缘为缘。
Okay, so the explanation, right? So this is one mentioned here. Kusalo eko kando tinana kandana means one wholesome aggregate conditions three aggregates, three wholesome aggregates condition one aggregate, two wholesome aggregates condition two aggregates. So so when they are conditioning each other, right? So when they are conditioning each other, for the first one, when one aggregate, when they are conditioning to the other three aggregates, there are four methods in total, right? There are four in total. So you take one for the conditioning phenomena. So separately, feeling, perception, formations, and consciousness into one side. And you have the other three in the conditioned phenomena. So feeling, you have the other three here. But when you have the perception in the conditioning phenomena, then you have the feeling, formations, and the consciousness here. You have the formations here, the feeling, perception, and consciousness are there, right? So in the consciousness in the conditioning phenomena, the other three is there, like that.
好，那么对于这四名运相互之间以俱生缘为缘的具体解释呢，我们先来看一下，在一运对三运的情况之中呢，它的缘法可能是受想行识这四名运当中的其中一种，那其对应的缘所生法呢，则是剩下的三种名运。
Right. So the second one was three wholesome aggregates conditioning one aggregate. So in that case, you take three with, there are four methods in total, right? So take three here, feeling, perception, and formations, and one aggregate, the consciousness become the conditioning phenomena. So you work out all the combinations with three aggregates like this.
接下来，同样的，对于三运对一运的构成部分当中，那如果它的缘法是四名运当中的三个名运，那其原生法呢，就是剩下的一个名运。
Yeah. So with the two aggregates supporting the two aggregates, then we have to take two to this side. And for this side, for the conditioned phenomena, then again we have to take the other two aggregates. So like that, there are 6 methods in total if you put them in this way.
好，那最后一种类型二运对二运的情况呢，它的缘法和缘所生法都应当是两种的名运。在这样的一种情况之中，一共呢构成了6对的情况，6组的情况。
Okay, so we have more things regarding the connaissance conditions to discuss. So if you have questions up until now, we can answer them.
So here in the table altogether, how many conditions? So 15 or 14?
How many combinations, right? So
Yeah.
4, 8, yeah, 14 in total.
14 in total, okay.
Yeah.
Then we should change the number because in the file it says 15.
Oh, is it? Ah, I see. So it's here. There are 15 ways, right? Oh, I'm sorry. It should be 14, right? Yeah. Okay. Yes. So there is a question. At the rebirth linking moment, the four mental aggregates and heart base support each other reciprocally. Okay. As for the heart base, this here only referred the Hadevatu Rupa. How about the other Rupa arising together at the same time? Earth, water, fire, wind, color, etc. So I think this is Sasyale, right? Do Sikari.
Yes, Yali
Yeah.
Sikari. So
Yeah.
from Mimi.
So Mimi, right? Okay. So so is this referring to the other types of other types of materiality in the same Rupa Kalapa? Is it?
I think the answer is the other Palicandi moment Kamaja Rupa was mentioned in the first type. Because you see there's three types.
Okay. So yeah. So it says yes, Bante. Yeah. So the Sarah is asking about the other types of Rupa. No, it's specifically mentioned about the Vatu Rupa only, right? It does not refer to the other types of Rupa.
And actually, this is the question I asked you before the class. So because in the first type, it says it said Palicandi moment Kamaja produced the matter. So Bande, you said you will explain this one, right?
I think this is two questions. Can Sally
Yeah,
talk,
yeah.
please?
Yes, Vande. My question is mainly because when we chant, it mentions the Padisandi moment, Namarupa, they support each other reciprocally. But here it only mentions Hadayawatu Rupa. For example, as a human being at Padisandi moment, there are 30 Rupa. So other ones, they do not reciprocally support the with the four nama kanda.
Yes, yes. So the other rupas, they do not support the four nama kanda. Only the Hadevatu, the heart base, will support the rebirth linking four mental aggregates. So when we are chanting the paccayaniddesa, right? When you're chanting, it says Patisandikkane. Okay, let me show it for the other people, students. Yeah, here one, right? So here says this is one you are referring, right? Okkantikkane namarupang anyamanyang sahajata paccayana paccayo. So in the Patisandi time, mentality and materiality, they support with the Sahajata condition for each other. So this is given in general, right? So but when we go into further deep, it's given as the Vatu Rupa, the Hadevatu is referred. I think in the commentary here it is very specifically mentioned about the heart base only.
Oh, Vande. Maybe a further question. Maybe for Anya Manya Paccaya, sure there's no there's only Hadayawatu, but for Sahajata, because the other rupa, the other Kamaja rupa, they arise at the same time, so it's still not Sahajata.
Other Kamaja Rupa, yes, the other Kamaja Rupa, they are conditioned state of Sahajata. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Bande.
Yes, how's
好，那这里呢，下类西卡瑞呢，他提到这一个问题，就是在结生刹那呢，在这里提到四民运呢与结生刹那的心所依处色相互之间呢，能够以具生缘为缘。但是呢，除了心所依处色之外，这里的这个心所依处是否指的是心所依处色呢？是否只是指的心所依处色呢？答案是是的。为什么呢？因为在结生刹那呢，只有心所依处色，它能够和结生刹那的四民运相互以具生缘为缘。也就是呢，那心所依处色既可以作为四民运的缘法，也可以作为四民运的缘所生法。而除了结生刹那的心所依处色以外呢，它还有其他的业生色法。然后呢，进一步的他问到，那除了心所依处色之外，在结生刹那同时升起的那些色法呢？那答案呢就是除了结生刹那的心所依处色以外，其他的业生色法呢，它们可以作为四民运的缘所生法，但是呢，并不可能作为四民运的缘法。
Okay, so any other questions before ending the class?
大家如果还有其他问题的话，可以打在评论区中。
No, right? Okay,
So,
so we shall.
my question is, my question?
Yes,
So,
yes.
why in the first type, when it mentioned the Paṭṭhāna moment, Kamaja Rupa, why it doesn't mention we should exclude the Paṭṭhāna moment Hadaya Rupa condition?
Yes. I think also it will take some time for me to explain it together with the Pali. I think we explain it next week together with the classification here.
Okay, Bande. But what I'm thinking is, if we didn't exclude the Paṭṭhāna moment Hadaya Rupa in the first type, it will be repeated.
Yes. I also had the same problem when I was learning, really. Okay, I will give the answer in brief. Maybe not everybody will understand it. So, okay, this is the Abhyakata, so where this Paṭṭhāna moment is coming. So we have to now we have to understand, like it's true. I also had the same problem because there will be a repetition. When I was learning, I had the same problem like you. So here it explains Paṭṭhāna-Pañhāvara vipaka abhyakato eko khandu Tindanang kandanang katattasa rupanang sahajata paccayana paccaya. So it mentions that at the moment of conception, the resultant indeterminate and the it's wrong here. Resultant indeterminants, one aggregate, support three aggregates, and the comma produce matter, right? Katattasa rupa means the comma produce matter. So I think what the Burmese sadhus, what they have done here is, this in Burmese they call it in Pali we call it Sarupa Katana, in Burmese Ayakau, so what they do is really that phrase by phrase they will be picking up the analytical states. So when you say Katatta Charupanang in general, then we have to take this one, right? and in the case of the in the case of the four mental aggregates and the heart base supporting each other, right, reciprocally, Khanda Vattusa Sahajata Paccayana Pachu, Vattu Khandanan Sahajata Paccayana Pachu. So here this is kind of a special thing where the aggregates are supporting the heart base and the heart base supporting back the mental aggregates. So that's why this is included in a separately. That is the reason. Yes, if you look at the condition states in this way, I mean, if you look at the condition states of the Sahajata Paccaya, then yes, it will be a double counting. But we have to understand the analytical states are given based on these Pali sentences directly. That's why. Yeah. I think in the Theravada, you know, the first 6 chapters, I think the analytical states presented here is slightly different from this one, as far as I recall. Okay, forget the Theravada for the moment, right? Because we have not learned it yet. Yeah.
Okay, Monday. Okay, sadhu.
Okay, no need to translate, right? So next week we'll be anyway explaining this.
Okay, man.
Okay, also, yeah. Okay, so we share merits which we accumulated by learning, teaching, and reflecting, discussing the supreme words of Buddha. So especially today, you know, in this class that Dr. Tushini, so she was the one who translated most or if not all of the conditions in the connaissance small group. So I'd like to make this moment to share merits for her, especially may she be healthy and recover from all the difficulties and from the merits which we accumulated throughout this class and and with other things. May she be healthy and happy, and all the conditions may she have to practice the Dhamma well, especially. Yes.
那在此呢，在现在我们在给大家一同做功德回向和发愿的时候呢，我们要在此特别的感谢一下 Dr. Tushini，因为呢，他帮助我们翻译了老师的有关于小具声元组当中这些语言的课件的内容，从新行列语翻译成了英文。那我们呢，把这些的功德呢也回向分享给他，愿他呢能够远离身体的病痛，保持健康，保持身心的快乐。
So also we share the merits with the deities, and may they rejoice on our merits and make their lives a blissful one, and also may they support us, the sasana and all of us.
并且呢，我们也回向功德呢给一切有情众生，回向给我们，愿这些善意功德呢能够成为我们早日离苦得乐、证悟涅槃的助缘。
Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang parang. Also, we share the merits with our relatives, deceased ancestors, and the friends who passed away, and any other being who is passed away. And may they rejoice on our merits and make their lives a blissful one. and also may it be a supportive factor for them to attain Nibbana.
那在此呢，我们也把功德回向给我们的亲族以及呢我们过生的亲戚们，愿他们呢在受到功德之后能够早日离苦得乐，并且呢愿此善意功德也成为他们证悟涅槃的助缘。
Idammi nati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idammi nati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idammi nati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Also, we make an aspiration until the day that we attain Nibbana. May we have the association of the noble and the virtuous people and not the ignorant.
也祝愿在我们证悟涅槃之前，在行道的道路之上，能够亲近智者，远离于愚人。
Imina punyakammena mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya yang pattang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa nyatva dhammang sukhavahang Papunantu visuddhaya sukhaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukhamuttamang cirang tiṭṭhatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarava sabbepi satta kalena Sammadevo pavassatu yatharakkinsu purana surajano tatevimang raja rakkatu dhammina attanova pajang pajang imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi. Addha imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadhi maranam ha parimuccissami. Idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idamme punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu. Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi. Te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labhantu. Buddha sasanang cirang tiṭṭhatu Buddha sasanang cirang tiṭṭhatu Buddha sasanang cirang tiṭṭhatu Sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for Bande's teaching. Sadhu, sadhu. May
Sadhu for
Bande
you
be
as well
happy
also
and
for
sadhu.
teaching
Sadhu,
and
sadhu,
for translating.
sadhu.
Thank you very much, Bante.
Thank you,
Sadhu, Bante.
Bante.
Thank you very much, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.